NewsX News. Israeli President Herzog has called on the international community not to engage with Hamas until all remaining hostages are released. Speaking in Riga alongside his Latvian counterpart, Herzog displayed images of hostages and said their condition is life-threatening. Let us listen in to what the Israeli Prime Minister had to say.
And I call upon the international community from Riga for a change. How about presenting a unanimous, tough position, including Europe, and saying to Hamas and its allies, we're not talking to you until you release the hostages.
This comes as at the United Nations Security Council, Ilay David, the brother of Israeli hostage Eviatar David, described the video released by Hamas, saying his brother looked like a living skeleton and had been forced to dig his own grave. He urged the council to use its leverage to secure the hostages' release. Let us listen into what Ilay David, the brother of Israeli hostage Eviatar David, had to say.
The last video also exposed another horrifying truth. As my younger brother, a living skeleton, was forced to speak and dig his future grave, you can see the chubby and well-fed hand of Hamas terrorists enter into the frame. Do not let them spend another minute in darkness, suffering beyond imagination. While we do our part, demanding from the Israeli government to do everything to save the hostages, all leaders should unite to pressure Hamas and its partners. Act now before it's too late.
Meanwhile, on the domestic front, in Tel Aviv, Israeli protesters blocked a main highway demanding a hostage deal and an end to the war in Gaza. Scuffles broke out as police attempted to remove demonstrators, calling the protest illegal. According to Israeli officials, 50 hostages remain in Gaza, with only 20 believed to be still alive. Hamas has so far barred humanitarian access to them. Now we are joined by Gedalia Blum. He's a Middle East affairs expert, joins us live from Eli, Israel. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome to NewsX World. Now, what are the broader implications of President Herzog's call for the international community to refrain from engaging with Hamas until all hostages are released?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me. I would actually say that President Herzog's message is has been the same message from the beginning. While in the past he has been leading left and he's now a president in a right-wing government, he has been apolitical and a uniter of the people of Israel. And the message is really of desperation, is wondering what exactly is the international community actually thinking? What kind of deals are they trying to broker? What kind of peace are they looking to have? Whereas the Hamas regime that was voted in, and right after being voted in, went to dispose of their political rivals, the Palestinian Authority officials, by throwing them off the rooftops. Now, these are people that are holding their own people hostage. They are creating a fear society, a terror society, that the people of Gaza are not free. They're not free. There's no freedom of expression. There's no freedom of not only movement outside of Gaza, but certainly within Gaza. And you know, some ways, police come and arrest their own people, torture them. And so for some reason, this desperation from the president is really a desperation of not what the expectations are that we have for Hamas, but what we have from the world, the Western world, who purports to stand for liberal democracies, for freedom. And what they're actually doing is by calling for a ceasefire, by trying to broker a deal with Hamas, is that they're actually giving them more power. They're showing them that they have a lot of leverage, and there's no reason for Hamas to speak anymore. Now, I will say this. I think that the number one issue that should have been at the forefront on October 7th, October 8th, And I'll say this, I think that this is the responsibility and the fault of Israel. We should have maintained a very clear message to the international community. You must open up the borders of Gaza to Egypt and open up a humanitarian corridor and allow civilians to leave so Israel could prosecute a clean and fast war. We're almost 2 years into this war. Hamas, we all know that, has been embedded into civilian populations from day one. From the times that they ended up taking power, they started shooting tens of thousands of rockets from schools, kindergartens, from hospitals into Israeli civilian populations. The world knew this. The world knew that Hamas was building terror tunnels. They knew that they had more terror tunnels than the New York City subway system. Now, when they saw what happened after the massacre of October 7th, the world should have said right away, Israel's going to retaliate. They're going to retaliate hard, as like anybody else would. We had tremendous amount of support around the world, yet not one government leader, not one NGO, not one UN agency ever called for the removal of civilians from the battlefield. In fact, the Palestinians in Gaza and also throughout Judea and Samaria have their own UN refugee agency called UNRWA. UNRWA's mandate is to protect its people, is to have programs, refugee programs. They have not once called for a humanitarian corridor to allow civilians to exit Gaza. So now we're really in this predicament where we're in a no-win situation, because of course we want our hostages back. And you hear that after months and months and months and a couple of years of trying to negotiate with Hamas, we know that there's no negotiating with Hamas, but I believe that the negotiations from the Israeli side were from domestic pressure, from the Hostage Family Forum, and also the international community. But I think anybody who understands the situation knows that Hamas is willing to let all of Gaza burn and be destroyed as long as they are able to remain in power. And so once they give up their last hostage, they have no more leverage against Israel. And they know that that will be their last day, because they know that we love life. Even one hostage is worth continuing to fight and to sacrifice our soldiers on the ground in order to get them back. On the other side, Hamas is willing to allow the whole population of Gaza become destroyed.
We are running short in time for this discussion, but thank you very much for joining us today and sharing your insights.